Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Cool.
Okay, Cloud Gurus. Well,
Hello, Paul. Let's wait for some other people.
Hi, Benny. Yep.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, boss.
Are people joining today?
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
They're still sleeping.
Nothing is chasing them yet.
Where is nothing? Tell nothing to chase them then. So we have lost Abdullah, Eddie, anyway, guys, let's go. Let's do something. So can you recap someone? Okay, everybody, can you raise your hand if you know where we got to last week? What were we doing? What did we do? Where did we get to last week?
I think last week we did the Terraform. We installed Terraform on the virtual machine. The virtual machine on our EC2 instance.
That's it.
Basically.
Yeah, I think Bernard went on and create like VPC. That was the max actually.
Okay. That's it. Did we talk about Terraform workflow?
Yes.
Why did you not say that?
Oh,
I thought that was basically the steps to create the Terraform and all that.
Yeah, but we did it. We learned it. So what I say, where did we get to? I'm telling you, what do you know so far about Terraform?
Yeah.
Okay. Go on.
Kappa.
Yeah, Penny, I think we did like we looked at the Terraform and why
Do
Terraform
anybody have any notes?
No, I don't.
So if I ask you what are the Terraform workflow?
I think we have the init, the plan, the apply, the destroy. Terraform init, Terraform apply, and then the destroy. Validate, I think validate and approve, and then the destroy.
Okay. How is Terraform structured? Terraform resource block structured.
As in
a resource block. What is a resource block?
I think it's a resource as mentioning. I mean, from I think we're not going to talk about the provider. I think it's like resources that you start with a keyword resource, and then you specify which type of resources. Let's say AWS VPC, and then you specify like a name of that resources, and then under it, then you provide the details that will belong to that resources you're mentioning into the structure.
Correct. A resource block is basically, the first line, which will specify, let's say, example resource, the type of resource and the name you give it, and then you open a curly brackets and close curly brackets. And inside that, you put the parameters that are needed for that resource. Example, for AWS VPC, we will have, let me open my Cloud9 and share my screen. We are going to sit this tough. This will be the first exam that we sit, guys. I'm going to push all of you to advanced Terraform, or the stage where we can all go and sit the Terraform exam. I'm sitting it as well. So let's take this serious, very, 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 very serious, because the exam will ask you questions like that. Okay. So this is a typical resource block. Okay. That's what. That's what we mean by a resource block. Okay. All in Terraform, all of the blocks or all of the resources, everything you create in Terraform will start with a first line like this, and then you open and close a bracket. It can be like this. You open and close a bracket. So basically, this is the resource, and these are the parameters of the resource. That's it. Some of them will come with comma, and then the next one, comma, and then the next one, comma. You can add as many parameters as you wish, but we don't do it this way. We just enter tab, and it makes it much more. So I can actually, in this list here, I can add as many parameters as I want. Okay, so that's what a resource block looks like. Right, remember that. These questions will be, I'll start coming up with some questions next time, and then we'll all do it. So I'll have a list of questions on a form, and I'll give it to people to do it, and then we'll mark it after. Because the idea is that we are going to sit the exam together. Okay. So we know how to install Terraform. We installed it. You can find a way to install Terraform from the Terraform documentation online. Okay. We talked about providers, which we did. We use the AWS provider. So that's a provider block. Okay, this is a provider block. This is a resource block. This is a provider block because it starts with provider. There are others like a data block. Yeah, there are other items that you can work with. We will work on them. We will see all of those. A data block. What does a data block does? What does a local block? Local block does, all of those things. We will be learning all of them. But remember that the terminology, yeah, the resource block. It's basically started with a resource and everything in there needed for the resource. Okay. But as we said, the provider will be more or less like, what are we using? Are we using AWS? Are we using Docker? Are we using Kubernetes? And for the provider, what happens is when you specify the provider you want, Terraform, when you run it, will see that, oh, this code is going to do something in the AWS realms or Docker or Kubernetes. It goes to online and it pulls the plugins for that will be needed to be able to communicate with AWS to do things for Docker, because it's going to do things on your behalf. So that's what the provider block does. And then it goes up there and it pulls all that information and plugins needed to be able to communicate or run API calls to whichever provider you specified. Now, today we're going to look into the state, okay, Terraform state. And I'm expecting that you write something down somewhere, okay. Now, Terraform have something called state. And state is, it maps real world resources to Terraform configuration. Basically, but after you run your Terraform takes the code, yeah, this code here, and it goes to the provider you set here, AWS, and it creates the resource. When it creates the resource, it needs to know about the resource, because Terraform is going to manage this resource. It was created by Terraform. Terraform will manage the resource, can, if you let it, manage the resource. But Terraform needs to know about the resource, isn't it? You yourself, when you create a resource in AWS, you know about the resource. You know about it. You don't know too much about it. But Terraform wants to know everything about the resource, everything. Remember, the communication between Terraform and your provider is not there's no live feed. It's not connected to it, looking at it like that. What happens is when you run Terraform, then Terraform will go and look at the resource again. Whenever you run the word Terraform and maybe apply or whatever, that's the time Terraform is going into the resource AWS. It will connect to the AWS environment and look at the resource again. So what Terraform does is it has something called a state file. Okay, a state file. Terraform keeps a file that has all the information needed or about the resource or the real life resource at AWS in that state file. Okay, so if we go to this one was what? Test VPC CD, test VPC ls. When you plan and apply, you see that Terraform has already created a state file here, tf state. This state file will hold information about the resource. As you can see, everything that it created, it said it knows that what version of Terraform it's using. It knows the VPC ID, okay? It has everything in all the information, the AWS account that the VPC ID belongs to. It takes all that, the ACL ID, route table ID, security group ID, everything about the VPC that it created sits in this state file. So when you say Terraform plan, Terraform then looks at this state file and says, oh, this is the VPC, because obviously the resource that I'm talking about is type VPC. It knows about that. And you called it my VPC. This is the name. So if you have two VPCs, it will know that you're talking about the resource, my VPC. Okay. It checks this is the VPC ID, then it connects to AWS and gets information about this VPC ID. And it compares that information that it got from AWS to what it has here and says, oh, this was null in my state file, but now there's a value. It has a value. This is how it's going to know the difference, isn't it? So everything that happens, if you delete this state file, that basically Terraform doesn't know about your resource anymore. That's what it means, okay? So it's a very, very important file that Terraform uses to manage. If you delete the VPC and Terraform destroy it, it will remove this block from its state file. Say, okay, I don't know about this resource anymore. It's been deleted. I'll remove this from my state file. Okay, so that's Terraform state file. And there's a Terraform state command also. So if you look at Terraform state command and you'd say --help, these are the subcommands, okay? It will show a resource in the state, okay? It will replace, remove resources, update remote state. So this state file, you can specify where you want to keep the state file. And the best way to manage this state file amongst a team, if two teams are managing this, two team members are managing this Terraform resource on AWS specifically, then the state file should be somewhere that everybody have access to. Because tomorrow, if you want to do a Terraform plan and you don't have access to this state file, then your Terraform on your environment doesn't know anything about that resource. It probably might go and delete it anyway. So there's a place to put the state file, and a place, a command to pull it. If someone gives you a link to the state file, you can pull it. You can move items in the state file and say, okay, I want to move, and you can also list the state files, resources in the state. So if I do Terraform state list, it will tell me based on the state file, what are the resources in the state file. And currently it says that there's one VPC, which is called my VPC, okay? And I can actually show this VPC. Let's say Terraform state show. Let's say, okay, show me this VPC. My environment is very slow. See, it went into the state file. This one, it didn't even go to AWS. It went into the state file, which I opened, I cut it, I showed you what's in the state file. But this time around, it's done it really nice and neat for you, saying that, okay, this VPC, this is the resource, this is the ARN, does it go IPv6 block? No. CIDR block is there, all of that information. The ones that you don't have, it's also null. It also have tags, showed you the tags and so on and so forth. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Can you create 2 VPCs on your AWS account using Terraform? Yeah? Both of you. Yeah?
Yeah.
Chris,
Yeah.
Okay.
LP, please, you are done.
Okay, cool. Right. Who's going to share their screen and show me this cool tool and how you have done it?
Okay, I'll share.
So we want to get the basics of Terraform out of the way, and then we fly. Hold on 2 minutes while you're sharing. I'm coming. Okay, so you didn't add tags.
Yes, that's what I'm looking at.
It's okay. It's okay. That's not the purpose here now. So you created 2 VPCs, main 3, main 4, and you're using the AWS provider. Okay. Is that what you did, Paul? Paul, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Is yours similar to this?
Let me check. I was still applying. Yeah, it's similar.
Okay. Now, if you go into the folder, the VPC module that you've created, you'd see that there's a VPC, the state file is there. You see, TF state. So today we are focusing on the state file. The TF state is there. And if you open it in Cloud9, you see that it has information about your VPC3, and it will be another list. If you go down, you see another one for VPC4. And this is what the state file does. Okay. Now, state files are very, 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 very important. The most important, this is literally the brain of Terraform, of your resource. What Terraform knows about your resource is in this file. If you delete this file and you do Terraform plan again, Terraform will not have any knowledge about your resource. So this is the one important file that you need to make sure is safe. Because it's so important, Terraform has got plugins to allow you to better manage this file. One of the ways to do it is to not leave it manually on your machine. Leave it somewhere else that you can access everywhere, anytime. And it will also version control for you. It will have versions. So if you make a change today, tomorrow, if you want to come and find the difference in yesterday's change and today's change, and if you want to revert to yesterday's change and so on and so forth, you'll be version control, version managed. Okay, just like our code in GitHub. So you could put Terraform state in GitHub. You can put it in S3 bucket, which is also version controlled. You can put it in Google. You can put it anywhere remote. So the state file, we have 2 locations. One of them will be your local. So local state. So this one is called a local state. You did not, by default, Terraform will put the state file locally on your machine. You didn't specify anywhere else for Terraform to put it. You could, even the local, you could put it in a folder somewhere on your machine, something, even, or you can specify all of that. Now, you can also put it on S3 bucket. Okay. So what we're going to do is today, we're going to add a block. Okay. One block at the top to tell Terraform where to put the state file. Okay. And we're going to put it remotely. Okay. So we have a remote state file. We're going to configure a remote state file. Okay. So you can go to Google and find the way the block should look like. But I'm going to type it. Let me share my screen. Okay. So in the same place where you're creating your Terraform code, you open a new block. Okay. And this one will be Terraform. Tab. We call it backend. It's going to be S3. So we're going to say we're going to put it in S3. Okay. Then we open another block, and we put the parameters of the S3 bucket. So we say region is equal to, this is where the region will be. We put in the key is equal to, and in Terraform you need to make sure that these are very, very nice and aligned. And we put in the bucket. Okay, so basically what we've said is we want you to put the backend, which is the state file, into an S3 bucket. And these are the details of the S3 bucket, which means that you already have to have the bucket created. Okay, so the bucket should already be there where you're going to put the state file. So if you go to AWS, you go to S3. S3 buckets are, if you create a bucket on its own, it's not, they charge you. It's very, 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 very cheap, depending on the way you use it. Okay, so warning there: if you leave the bucket open to the world and people are able to put things in it, then depending on what they are putting in it and taking out, it may cost you. So you create a bucket and we'll call it Bernard TF test state. I'll use this bucket to manage all my state files. Yeah. I will put it in which region. It's in North Virginia. As you can see, it's in North Virginia. So I'll probably copy this actually and put it in the code already. So region is North Virginia. And the name of the bucket, and this name of bucket can be there should be a unique across the world. In all S3 buckets, you can't have two names. You can't create, if I finish creating this, you can't create the same bucket in AWS ever. It has to be unique. So the bucket name is this. Okay. And I will then leave everything as default. You see, versioning, you need to enable versioning. So if I put in the file today and I make changes, it will manage the versions for me. Okay, bucket versioning. So I've done that. You can encrypt the bucket. We're not doing S3 buckets, so we're just creating an S3 bucket. And voila, the bucket is created. Okay, it's in EU West 1 and so on and so forth. All right. Now, as you can see, I have created the bucket in a region. I have provided those. Okay, but the key, this is the name of the file that Terraform is going to create. Okay, that's something that Terraform itself will. So Terraform is going to put a file there, which is the state file. How do you want Terraform to call this file? Oh, for now, I would say my VPC. I can call it my VPC, my test VPC. VPC. Okay. That means that when you go into the S3 bucket after you do your apply, this is how Terraform is going to call the name of the bucket. Does that make sense? Guys?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I could be wrong with the... So I'm going here. I'm going to add it to my code here. Yeah. I'm going to add it to my code here. Okay. And I'll save. So if I go here and I do Terraform plan, remember the user running this Terraform should have permission to be able to put a file in this S3 bucket. Good thing is, all the user we are using is an admin user anyway, so it should be able to do everything. Okay, so let's do Terraform plan again. We've added one more block, and this time around we're telling it that we want our state file to be in an S3 bucket called this. Yeah, so let's see.
So OP, question.
Yeah.
So right now, if I should create a block,
yeah,
on my end here, and then name it backend S3 region US East 1 key, and then I use the same bucket name as you used, will it save in your bucket?
No, you don't have access to my bucket. Well, it will try and put it in my bucket. As the bucket is managed differently, it will try. If the bucket is already there and I have given everybody access to it, anybody can put in, anybody can remove, then yes, you should be able to put it in my bucket. But my bucket is blocked. So you will get an error saying access denied to this bucket.
Okay. Exactly.
But I have access to my bucket, so I should be able to. Okay, so we have an issue. Okay, backend initialization required. Terraform knows that if I added a new block, that it needs to then go and pull the plugins for the backend. It needs to go and pull the plugins, because the last time we did the initialization, it looked and it saw that it was only creating a couple of VPCs. Yeah. It was only creating a couple of VPCs. So because of that, it pulled only those backends. This one, what's going on? Have I removed something? What's going on? Okay, these are variables. Okay. Is this the one that I've been using to? Anyway, so we need to initialize again. Yeah. So Terraform in it. And it will then go and pull backend stuff. Of course, unable to access my VPC in S3 bucket. This error. The resource errors that you could. This Terraform failed to load the default state from the bucket state. Cannot occur unless the state can be loaded. Blah, blah, blah. So, what is going on here? What's going on is we've just told Terraform to go and find this key in the S3 bucket. In this S3 bucket. But I think unable to access object, the key, the thing is not there. So this is where I think there's something else we have to do. And let's find out quickly. Let's find out quickly. Aha. The Terraform init command has two relevant options which change the backend configuration. The Terraform init migrate state command can be used to migrate your state file safely. Aha. So the state file is currently sitting here. And when you init and you don't add the migrate state, I think it wants to create a new file. Okay. We want to move this file to what we want to do is to move the file. So I think the command we need to run is Terraform init migrate state. Yeah. Let's try this one and see. Three 300 years later. Unable to access this S3 bucket. Okay. Chris, share your screen and run this. Then let me see. I think my block, I think I've changed things here. So I don't even have I've made a lot of changes here that might cause my code to fail. Chris, share your screen.
Okay.
I'm going to have to create a new code quickly. Jean-Luc.
I can hear you.
1 hour late.
Yeah, actually I came just to listen. I'm not even in a position to do anything apart from following the steps.
Chris,
I'm at the hospital.
Oh,
so my son just fell sick. I have to take her to the hospital.
Opie, can I see the block?
Guys, you need to take notes.
No, I was listening first.
Yeah, and then you take notes. It's not just listening. Okay, check the chat. Did you create the S3 bucket? Paul?
Yes.
Can you perform this task?
Yeah, I've done it, but I'm facing errors as well.
The same error?
I think they are different.
Share your screen. Let me see your error.
Okay. This one. I think you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the same error.
Oh, it's the same. Okay.
Oh, yours is local backend. What's going on?
So, this is the code. I think I will
The-
have to
You need
increase
to
this.
indent properly, guy. You need to indent
Oh,
properly.
it's the intention.
Well, I'm not sure if that's what's causing it, but you need to indent properly.
Yeah. Let me do that. Think no user setting. Terminal. It's a bit bigger now. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think my indentation are wrong.
Paul, why your screen is that small?
I think I increased the size. Let me double increase the size. What is wrong with this? Okay, I need any copiers. I think mine has an issue, and I've given us a copy. Seems not to work.
Yeah, I think mine worked.
Okay, it worked.
Show me your screen. Okay, so go up to where you run the command. No, scroll up, yeah. Okay, so you did a simple Terraform init, yeah. And it says, well, do you want
You
to
want to
copy
copy
existing state?
existing state to new bucket?
Yeah, pre-existing state was found while migrating the previous local backend to whatever. You said yes, and then it did the back. So if you go to the S3 bucket that you created, go and see what is in there now. So open the bucket. Click on the name. No, that's not how to open a bucket, is it? There are two links. You're clicking one that says clearly view, analyze. You're clicking it. See, now it's put the name, the thing here. Okay. So this is the state file now. This is the name you gave it. You can't open it here. You have to download and open and stuff. So it's not a file that you can, in S3 bucket, you can't just view. It's not a tool to look at documents. It's a place to put the document. There are other ways for you if you wanted to view it. Okay, so this is it. This is all I was trying to do. Okay, so mine, obviously my code is different. I think I've messed up that code, and things in there might be different. It doesn't even have a S3 AWS provider block. Okay. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So go back to the code and check if the state file is still sitting there locally. What happened? It's still there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
By 0 bytes, it looks like there's nothing in it.
open it and let's see. Yes.
So there's nothing.
So we moved everything out of it and put it in the backend in S3. That means you can delete this file. Delete it and let's see. Never ever delete a state file, especially when you go into production. But for testing purposes, let's delete it. And do your Terraform plan and let's see. So you've migrated the file from local to AWS. So each time it wants to know what the state of the infrastructure is, it has to talk to the S3 bucket every time. So it will connect to S3 bucket, look at the state, and then use that as.
But it looks like it has created a copy of it here.
No, okay. This is a backup, but yeah, it created a backup of it because obviously, should anything fails, it still needed somewhere else to look at it. Yeah, so it did a backup there. You can delete it.
Yeah, I was about to ask that if I delete this, what will happen?
Let's find out.
Worst case, we can download it back.
And then run your Terraform plan again. Let's see. See what's going on? It still have access to the state file.
Yeah, it matches the.
Exactly. So you've learned about state. We have local state. We have remote state. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are using AWS S3 as the remote state location. Yeah. You can do Terraform state show or list. Terraform state list. It will list your resources for you. Look, it will go to S3, look at the state file, and then it will tell you the different. We see. So it has two resources in there: VPC main 3, VPC main 4. Okay. If you go back and into your provider.tf and you just comment out the key. Comment out the key. So you know how to comment.
Yes.
Okay. Comment out the key. Okay. And save the file. This is how you learn. What will happen if I do this? What will happen if I do that? What will happen if I comment out the whole block of the backend? What will happen? What did he say?
Backend initialization required. Let's run. Okay, let's run init again.
No. The error is clearly, you know what you've done. So don't initialize again. It will cause problems. Comment out the whole block of the backend from Terraform. Yeah. Who are you leaving the region and the bucket name for? Okay, there's a way you select the whole block and you control /. It will comment all of it.
That was what I was looking for.
Right. Terraform plan and see. So now it doesn't have any state. This resource doesn't have any state. It doesn't have any remote state. So it would think that this is a new code.
Mm.
You get it? So Terraform plan. It would think that this is a new code. This file is, I'm going to go to AWS to go and create these two new resources because there's no backend. I can't find any back. Well, maybe it will still have the backend in the Terraform folder. Yes. So go up. Okay. Now, if you list here, list all resources. List all resources. List bash script, list resources, list all files. Sorry, all files. Okay. Terraform still have another folder that it keeps things in. One of them is Terraform.terraform, and one of them is the log. In the .terraform, it has a lot of it's still got information about your resources in there somehow that it knows that, oh, for one, there was a time that this module had a Terraform state. Now it's not there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete the .terraform and the .terraform log file. So just do rm .terraform star, enter. It's a directory. So it's a directory. What do you mean? You need to delete that directory. Hurry up.
I've forgotten the sudo.
It's minus ARA. You put ARA, the recursive thing.
If you forget how to breathe, what's going to happen to you? Don't forget your Linux, so guys.
Do rm. You're forgetting rm as well.
Right.
It's rm minus ARA.
rm.
Remove minus and put rm first.
Like that.
You're doing a command for remove, but you put -ARA to.
What is the dash in front of the R doing?
It's mentioning like it can delete recursive thing if there is a lot of things to delete. Continue deleting.
You need to put the dot in front of the guys. This I cannot be coming here, Linux, when I tell you to remove the delete a folder, and then we are here struggling to delete a folder, Chris. It's gone. Delete the other file. Can't forget about these things because it's always going to be part of your. If you're deleting a folder, you needed the rm. Okay, now list all the files and let's see if they are still there. They are not there. Okay, now do Terraform plan and let's see.
Inconsistent dependency log file.
So it wants you to run Terraform in it again.
Yes.
Run it. Okay, plan again and let's see. See, it's created a new state file. Because it doesn't know about any state file, it doesn't know about this resource. So it says it's going to go and create a new resource. You see what's going on? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is to remove the file again, the folders, and remove the state file as well. Remove everything and uncomment that block. Okay. So now it says I'm going to go and create two resources. We already know that the resources are there. So just remove everything, uncomment that block, and let's see what will happen. List.
So did it create it? Yes, it did. Okay.
So have you just listed it? Yes. So everything is there. So what you can do is rf minus rm dot terraform star. What does the star? What do we need the star for?
Anything that contains Terraform, dot Terraform, right?
And everything after. So it has to. It means that any file that has .terraform in front of it, and I don't care whatever comes after the name, add it. So the .loc HCL will be added. Everything will be added. Okay. So this is it. List again, and let's see. List all hidden files again. Okay. Now uncomment the block for the remote state.
If I do this and // will it uncomment?
Let's find out. What happened?
Yes, it worked.
Fix the indentation. Guys, you need to have attention to detail. Everything you do, don't rush. Come on. And save the file. There's no need to rush on things. Did you save the file?
Yes.
Okay. Now do Terraform init again. Okay. Terraform plan, and let's see what will happen. See, it says I'm not going to create any new resources. So this proves to you that the state file is the brain of Terraform, and it must be protected with all your might.
Yeah.
Makes sense now?
Yes.
All right. Can someone, I'm going to be on mute. Can someone explain to Jean-Luc what we've done, what it's all about? Both of you. One person start, and then you can top it up. Explain this to Jean-Luc.
Oh yeah, please. Do you mind going on and explain to him?
Okay, so today we've basically done
I think he wasn't around even the last week.
Come again?
I think he wasn't there last week as well. I think it could be taking him through.
So we're starting from last week.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did last week we did Terraform resources, where we're able to create and manage our infrastructures on using Terraform. So basically, Terraform is a tool for managing our infrastructures. So we did what we call the Terraform resource, where we are able to create resources using Terraform. So last week we created a VPC using Terraform where we have the resource. The provider is AWS, and then we are creating the resource we are creating is AWS VPC, and then the name will be main. And then we have a CIDR block, which this is our CIDR block that we are going to assign to the VPC. So basically, we are creating 2 of the VPCs. So if we run this without this here, it will go to it will go to AWS and create 2 VPCs with this CIDR block. Okay. And that was basically everything we did last week. We also did what we call the Terraform workflow, where before this is how to basically from the initialization state of Terraform to what do you call it? To basically how to come again?
To the destroy.
Yes. Basically how to create and then destroy infrastructures on Terraform. So we have the Terraform plan. Sorry, we have the Terraform init. We have the Terraform plan. We have the Terraform apply, and then we have the Terraform destroy. I think there are 5 or so. So that is basically what we are using here today. So if you can see, before we started everything, we did something called Terraform init. So we are initializing the backend, okay? And then after you initialize it, you need to plan it to see how the infrastructure will be like. So you use the Terraform plan, and then where is it? Yes, you use the Terraform plan. Let's run it and see what happens. Oh, I've commented this thing out. So it's not going to see the.
No, you have the TF on local. It's there.
Where is it? Do I have a local?
Yeah, you have it there. That one.
No, the state file. It's not local.
Oh yeah.
Wait, but it worked. Oh, okay.
Because you put the state file remote.
Yeah, it's remote.
So
Yeah,
if
it was commented. The
But
block
I've
was
commented it out. Or is it because it's still here?
When did you comment it out?
No.
Did you save the file? If you don't save a file.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised that how come it worked. Yes.
Oh man.
Always remember to save, because the computer doesn't know the changes you've just added if you don't save.
Yeah. Yes. So where was I?
I was trying to show him on what we're doing now.
Yes. Yeah, so basically there's no state file, so we are going to get this error. Okay, now that brings us to the topic, the state file, Terraform state file. What is it? So it's basically the brain of Terraform. It tells you, it lets Terraform know the state of the infrastructures it has on AWS or on the cloud. So because we don't have any state file here, Terraform doesn't really know about the infrastructure. Okay, it doesn't have any knowledge of it. So in order for it to and then the state file, it could be local or it could be remote. When it's local, that means basically on your machine, you can have access to it, or you can also put it on the cloud, basically, so that anyone, or people can share. Let's say if 2 people are managing your AWS account, the infrastructure or the Terraform account, what am I even saying? So that basically when 2 people are managing the account, they can share resources and all that. They can have access to it. So you can either put it on the cloud or you can put it locally. So yet today we were able to put it on the cloud, and we placed it in an S3 bucket. So we walked through the steps in creating an S3 bucket, where you just like any other thing on the, what do you call it, AWS. You just search for S3, it pops up. You select it. And then you just click on create. You leave these defaults. You name it. Now the bucket, the naming convention for the bucket is very specific. It has, you can basically check the rules to name it, but basically it has to be unique. Once someone creates a name or gives a name to a bucket, you cannot use it anywhere. So you must make sure that the name you are creating is very unique to just, it's very unique on AWS basically. So if we should use something like, let's say, Chris bucket, it's going to tell us that it is in use or something like that. Let's see. No, this is what I've created. So let me use something I've created. So Achina bucket. Yes. And then we want to enable versioning control. Where is it? Yes. Now let's try creating. And there you go. It says bucket with the same name already exists. Now you might be wondering, is it not because I have created it, or is it not because I have created it? What if someone else has created that same name? So let's go with what Benny created. What was his own?
So you mean it's search worldwide, or
yeah, it's worldwide basically.
Okay.
No one has to have used it the whole
Guys,
world.
this is normally not an S3 bucket lesson, but yes, as we go, when we touch, if we need an S3 bucket, we create it. We will tell you the basics of S3 bucket. One of them is the naming convention is like a DNS. There can never be 2 people in the whole world that have the same S3 bucket name. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are basically creating the S3 bucket so that we can put our state file in it, so that it becomes, we can have access to it anywhere we go. Where is it? And this is the block for creating the, for putting our where is it? Okay. Yeah, so this is the block for putting our state file into the S3 bucket. So Terraform, then the backend is S3. We are using S3 bucket. The region should be the region in which you created the S3 bucket. So US East 1. And then the key. The key is how you're going to name it. So Terraform will move the file to S3 bucket though, but how do you want to name it when it moves it there? So the name will be my test VPC. and then the bucket name is Achina bucket. And then we save. Now, as you can see, because it didn't have a state file, it was throwing an error. This is because that is the brain of Terraform. It doesn't have any knowledge of it if you don't have a state file. Now we have a state file, so let's see what happens. If we do Terraform plan, it should then have knowledge of what we have. So let's see if it actually, yes. Now it goes on there and it says your infrastructure matches the configuration. That means we've made no changes to it. Terraform has compared your real infrastructure against your configuration and found no difference. So no changes are made. Now, if we go ahead, let's say we are trying to create another VPC. Yes, and then we are giving it, let's change the CIDR block to 5. And then now we save and do Terraform plan again. Good. Now you see when we change the infrastructure, Terraform is telling us that we have 1 changes to be made. Okay, so plan 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. So basically we are not destroying any infrastructure. So it says 0 to destroy. Now let's do Terraform apply. So if I understand very well, the plan is just like staging. We are only staging it. We've not applied it yet. So Terraform apply. Did you apply? And then there it goes. It says, do you want to create? Only yes will do. So yes, we want to do it. Whoa, now we have an error. It says what? Error creating VPC, blah, 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 with AWS.
Guys, let's not use this time to fix errors. John Luke, you have an understanding of what's going on Terraform, yeah? You've got to watch the videos, all right? We've got to the state file and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own another VPC and I will use it to show you something, okay?
Okay.
Hello, guys. I was talking to myself. Guys, let's not use this to fix Terraform problems that you've created yourself by deleting things. John Luke, you need to watch the videos. Today it was we are working on state file and the guys are getting closer. You need to watch the videos. Let's move on. We have about 30 minutes. Let's work on variables and outputs. Okay, variables and outputs. Okay, so
Actually, when getting you have to account open. One was on mute, another one was working. He was not talking to yourself.
was I not?
No, we could hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool then. So I'm going to create another folder. I don't want problems, so I'll create another folder. File, new. Okay, new folder is not there. Okay, let's do this. Can you see my screen? Let me share. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I will do a new folder. I'll call it VPC vars. And in VPC vars, I'll create a new file. And all we need is the file name should be should have .tf. So Terraform will look at any file that has the extension .tf. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this block because I'm going to use the S3 as a backend. So that's the first thing. The next item is I'm going to say I will need AWS VPC provider. I need the provider to be VPC, copy. So I'll say, okay, this is provider VPC. I'll leave it. Okay. And then I will just create a simple VPC, where VPC, just create this VPC. The reason I'm using VPCs is I can delete them all, even if I mess up. Yeah. Right. In this VPC, I'll call this one Bernard test 1. Remember that this here is a logical name just for Terraform. You go to AWS, you will not see Bernard test 1 there. Okay. For VPCs, we can add some more parameters. Okay. One of them is tag. Yeah. But we go to Terraform. And they will show you how to tag your VPC. And it's there. Actually, it's Google just had it here. Okay, so all you need is to add a block like this, which is tags. Make sure you indent properly. Yeah. So there's a cider block, the parameter here, and we're saying tags. Because tags can be a list, we are opening it and adding the list here. Yeah. So I'll say Bernard test 1 Terraformed. Yeah. I would say Bernard. All right. Now, we are doing variables.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
the Bernard is supposed to be in.
Yeah, well done. We are doing variables and outputs. Okay. So if I wanted to create another VPC, well, we're not going to look how am I going to put this in a variable form? Yeah. There's a block called variables. Yeah. And this is a variable block. And in this variable block, you call the variable whatever you want to call it. I'll call it VPC, Bernard test VPC 1. Yeah. So this variable will be called, I'm creating a variable. Okay. And that variable will be called name. Yeah. So the variable is VPC name. And this is a name that you're giving to the variable in Terraform. Okay. And you just open brackets again. And then you put in the value and then the thing. So if we go here, how would it look like? Taking you a long time. Come on. Okay. So here they create a variable and call it VPC tags. Now there are different types of variables. Okay. This one is going to be a type of a map. So they're saying that everything I put here should be given to this VPC. Okay. That's what they're saying. But I don't want that one. I want just not a map. So let's go to here. Let's see how people have done variables. Okay. So we have the variable that you create. Obviously, as I said, the variable block, and you open and close a bracket, and everything in there will be the variable. Okay. As you can see, the cider block also, they've done it a variable. Okay. All right. So we're going to do the same, and I'm just going to have this here. The variable will be, it has a description. They say this description is optional. Okay, so you can put anything you want. And this variable is going to be of type string. And the default value of this variable is going to be the default value is going to be this. Okay, so this here has created a variable called Bernard test one name. In Bash, what we did was we created a variable and call it, let's say, name. And then we say it's equal to, and then we put a name here. Yeah. So when we want to find the value of this variable, we echo name, don't we, in Bash? And then name will show us what is in it. Yeah. In Terraform, this is name here. This one here is the variable name that we just created. The value in this will be this one. Yeah. So we just created a variable called name, this. So if we want to echo, we will echo Bernard test one name. Yeah. And the value, the default value in it will be this. Of course, there's this here as well. As we said, this is a description. So for people to be able to read the code properly, when they come here, they will see if you have to add some information about this variable. You can add it here. Okay. And you specify whether the variable is a string, is a boolean, you need to specify. In Bash, if you put anything in commas, Bash takes it as a string. if I want to put a number, I don't put it in anything. Bash will create the variable and declare it as a number. You get my point? So there's something going on in the backend in the variable declaration as to, is this variable a number, a string, and it's in Python and or mostly every programming language. So here we are also specifying that we want this variable to be a string. Okay, and that's a variable. Now I have a variable and I know the name of the variable and the value is this. How do I use it? I use it here to reference a variable in Terraform. You just type var dot and the name of the variable. Okay, the name of the variable. So var dot this. So what will happen is Terraform will come to the variable block, look through all variables because you can create as many variables as you want. Find this variable and put the value here. You're probably thinking, why do we have to go through all of this? Why don't we just put the value there? For now, forget about the why. We don't do that. You will find out soon, basically later, that the reason why variables are very important. Okay, you will do modules and stuff, and you see that variables are very important. So I want to put the value here, the default value here, when I'm creating this resource. I can also do the same and call this Bernard test VPC CIDR. I'll make it a string and I'll copy the value of CIDR. And put it in this here. Okay. And I will call the variable copy at the top here and say var dot CIDR. So Terraform, when it's building this resource VPC test 1, better test 1, it wants to know what the CIDR, but we'll tell it to go to the variable block and look for the variable called this and put the value there. You're getting it? Yes.
Yeah.
Same way we did Bash, isn't it? So we leave it as it is now and Terraform plan and init and see what will go on. So save. Yeah. I'll then cd dot VPC vars. Yeah. Terraform plan. We need to init. And there's error with the backend again. Oh, so this unable to access. What's going on here? How is it?
I've fixed it. Can we check on the code? You can make the Terraform backend thing first.
Why is it that it's working for all of you? What happened? What's wrong with my backend? Guys, what's wrong with my backend? Oh, I think this machine doesn't have access to S3. I think. Let's see. What role did I give this machine? Ah. You need to learn about these errors, man. See, it doesn't have access to S3. The reason why yours is doing this, you're not using the role, you're using your own permissions. Mine, I made changes so that I use the role instead of the permissions itself. So let's terraform in it and again. See, it's working now. But the error will not say that. It's a forbidden. Welcome to DevOps, man. So it works. Because the machine wants to talk to the S3 bucket, it doesn't have permission to. Remember when we're doing roles and users?
Yeah.
This is a typical example. It doesn't have access to the resource. So machine itself can't. It's trying to create a file in the resource. It can't create that file because it doesn't have permission to do that. The Terraform plan. And all along, that was the error. But we're going round, looking at other things. And this is the plan. It's going to create one resource. This will be the tags. You see that I have then taken the information that I want, which is the values in the variables, and added it there. Yeah. So if I apply, let me see that dashboard.
And for the auto apply,
Yeah.
the first one.
Huh?
The first one up there.
Aha. Auto apply.
Auto approve actually.
Auto approve. So what does auto approve do?
You remove that step where you have to say yes.
Don't use auto approve until you are confident. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what it's doing is it's not going to warn you. It's just going to go and create the resource without asking any questions. So if you're applying with auto approve, means that Terraform just goes and does it. See, it skipped asking you any questions for you to check whether everything is okay or not. It just went and created the resource. Okay. So I have got the resource. If we go to AWS VPC, we have the resource. So guys, don't forget, play around with variables a lot. Okay. And we have 4 VPCs and here, okay, it's the one. It added tags to it, and if you go to the tags, you see that there are dev, Bernard, and that, and the cider block is this. Yeah, so that's variables. The other one is outputs. So when we finish creating the resource, this is all that we got, information that we got from the VPC. That's it. Not every time that I will want to go to AWS to go and see what is the VPC ID, what is all that information. So Terraform has another block called output. Okay. And if you go to here, and Terraform VPC output. Okay. This is a typical example. Okay, you start output, and then you create your own. It's like another variable. We're going to put information in. Okay, we're going to put information in. So let's copy this and go here. We create an output block. Okay, create an output block. So now we're going to create an output block. Now this is where it gets interesting. So I can name this. I can name it anything. This is my own. So I can just say copy and put this here. Okay, but this is going to hold the VPC ID. Okay, VPC ID. Now, how do we get the VPC ID? How do we get it? We are going to get it from the resource block. The information is here. That information is here. When we created the VPC, it had information, and that information is hidden in this block here. We need to get it. Yeah. Now, what is this block's name? This block is, this resource here is AWS VPC dot Bernard test 1. Okay, so anything I want to do, like let's try it. Let me do Terraform state list. Terraform state list. How does Terraform call or reference this VPC block? How does it do it? That resource that was created. You see, it says AWS VPC, which is this one, dot Bernard test. That's how this is how the Terraform knows and calls this machine, this resource. So anything I want to do to this resource, this is how I have to reference it. Okay, so I want to know the ID that was generated when I created the AWS VPC Bernard test block. So in the output, I will put that there. Okay. AWS VPC Bernard test 1 dot ID. Now, everything about this VPC is in Terraform here. Okay, so if you go to Terraform AWS VPC, AWS VPC, yeah, this is it. This is the block here. Okay, and every information about this is here. How to use it, how to add tags, everything you need to do about this. AWS have put a reference here. Now, when you come to it, I said AWS Terraform. Can you mute? Can you mute? Can you mute? Can you mute, Jean-Luc? Can you mute?
Sorry.
Jean-Luc, are you going to mute? Yeah, good. So when you come here, we've got argument reference argument. The arguments you can add to the block. These are the arguments. Everything you can add here. So the first argument was the CIDR block, the instance tenancy, the tags. These are arguments. Okay, so here they tell you what arguments you can actually add. They've got a number of arguments. So if you wanted DNS enabled, you can set it to true or false. You wanted, and this is the tags argument. Okay, some of them are optional. Most of them are optional, but some of them, the CIDR block is not optional. You need to create a VPC. You need a CIDR block, but there's a reason why they've got this here. And they've got attribute reference. This is what, after you've created the resource, this is the information you get back. One of them is ID. So one of them is ARN. Another one is the main route table ID. These all owner ID tags, all. This is what you get back. Okay. So if we go here, we've created the resource. We're saying that for this resource, which is AWS VPC dot Bernard test, which is this is what you know about Terraform, go to the reference here, which is the attribute reference, and give me the ID. Okay, hence I've got .id. I can also say I want another output, copy, paste, and here I'll say VPC ARN. So I'm creating another variable and saying that I want the ARN, and I'll add the ARN here. If you go to the reference, it says ARN is also something that it will give out. Yeah. So ARN. Yeah. It has to be exactly the same as this. If I change this to anything different, it will not work. This is the reference of when you're creating the. I can actually add another one and say tags all. Let me click it. Tags all, isn't it? So I will then say I want an output, copy, and I'm creating another variable, tags, and I will do tags underscore all. That's what it said. So when I plan and apply, it means that Terraform will give me this output. Okay. So let's save this file. Remember, you always have to save and do Terraform plan again. We may have to init because we are adding an output block, but not all resources or all blocks require initialization. Okay. Unsupported attribute dot arm. You see, I put arm instead of an, so it's crying about it. It's ARN. It doesn't know anything about arm. It's a very good way of telling you that it has to be the same as what is referenced in their document.
Attention to details.
Attention to detail.
Very important.
Can make those small. See, now it's doing it, and you see, it's giving me the output. It says that so what happens is output also gets put into the state file. So anything that is going to add here, it says that you can apply this plan to save these new output values to your Terraform state without changing any real infrastructure. It can see that, now you want outputs, and it gone and found the ARN of the VPC, it found the VPC ID, and it also found the tags that we added, and it's going to put it in your state file as outputs. Outputs are very, very important, and you will see why as time goes on. Okay, so when you don't apply, it is not in your state file. Okay, so let's apply and auto approve. When you finish applying any resource, Terraform would spit out the output for you. Anything you told it to give you out after, it will spit it out for you after. Here, see, applied, complete, 0 resources changed, 0 destroyed, 0 added, and these are the outputs. Bernard, Terraform, this value, this variable, this output, this is the value. Okay, so I do not have to go to AWS to go and see these things at all, and I can reuse these outputs for other purposes. Very important. Yeah, that when we get there, we'll get to other. We will be going deep a little bit when we start doing modules and stuff. Okay, so remember outputs, guys. Remember outputs and variables. Okay, you need to practice these. Yeah, you need to practice these. Okay, how to reference an output, how to reference a variable, and so on and so on. One other thing is, remember, as I said, I do not need to put all, you see, this code is becoming big and big and big and big. If I needed a lot more variables, I will add them here. If I needed a lot more outputs, I'll add them here. And that's why it's best to have a new file that we call variables.tf. As long as the name extension is finishing.tf, Terraform will use it. Okay. And then what we do is we copy the variables that we created and put it in that file. So we don't want them here. So we have one file that we are managing all variables in, and save. This has changed nothing.
Or you cut.
I cut it. I don't want it in both files. It has to be in one file.
Okay.
Okay, so now I have one file that I'm putting all my variables in. It's no longer in here. Okay. That means I can have another file to put all my outputs. And I'll just cut all my output. You don't, by the time you start developing your code, you obviously have three files, isn't it? Your output file, your variables file, and your main. Okay. So where's the output? Yeah, save. And then I will save the main as well. So now the main only have what? Your provider, your backend, and you can actually also have another file just to manage your backend. You can have another file for your provider, and your main will be your main, which is where the VPC block will sit. Everything VPC, the VPC, it will sit in your main.tf. How you restructure your your files is up to you. Okay. So now, what do you think will happen if I do Terraform plan or init? Nothing. Terraform will still know that it will still compile all three files, and it will look the same. The code hasn't changed. Nothing changed. The variables are the same. It checks and it sees the variables and it says your infrastructure is up to date. Nothing changed. All I did was create new files. But because Terraform compiles all the files at runtime, and it puts it all together in its own memory anyway, it will build all three files together as time goes on. That is developing the infrastructure for you. Okay. Any questions?
I'm fine so far.
Good. So we did variables. We know how to reference a variable, how to create a variable, and we created a string variable. Okay, and the value we put it as a default value. There's a reason why we got a default value, because if we can actually change the value in a variable later, okay, and we did outputs. Okay, we showed you where you can put these outputs. We created a tag. This time around, we added a tag parameter, and added a list of tags. And we went to AWS and we saw it. Okay. Now let's Terraform destroy. Okay. Okay, we are going to destroy the resources that Terraform has created. All right. And Terraform will go to AWS and delete those resources in the code in its state.
Why are you destroying them?
Because I finished using them.
Okay. All those variables and outputs and main will be deleted.
No, the resources in AWS will be deleted.
Okay.
The VPC, the code will still be there.
Okay.
So it says that do you really want to destroy all resources? It says it's going to destroy this VPC. Okay. It tells you, I'm going to destroy the resource Bernard test one. This is the ARN. This is the CIDR block. This is all the information about this VPC. These are the tags. Do you really want to destroy them? You said yes. In the state file now, it will delete this information from the state file. So everything that is related to this VPC has been deleted from the state file. But the state file is still there. It just doesn't have any resource in it. Okay. If I Terraform plan or apply again, it would think that, oh, I don't have any VPC in my state file called this, so I'm going to go and create a new one. It will go and create a new one for you. Okay. So that's about it for today.
So OP, if you had wanted to destroy just one resource,
yeah,
what
you will reference there's another called target. So if I do destroy and I say dash target, I want to target is equal to, then I'll say I want to target just this one.
Okay.
And that will be destroyed. I think we did it last week.
Yeah, we did it last week.
Yeah. It will just destroy just this one and leave the rest alone. All right, guys, we are hoping that we will do Terraform quick enough and try and see if we can sit the exams, all of us, and sit the Terraform exam. Okay, so that's our aim. For Terraform, we are going to sit the exam together. All right?
Okay.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow, actually. We will do more tomorrow. Follow up. We'll be doing modules. What are modules and how to create a module and how to use a module. The knowledge we acquired today, that we have used variables and we have used outputs, will help us in our moduling. Okay, and we'll explain what a module is and so on and so forth. So well done, guys. Today we'll pick it up tomorrow, same time, 7 a.m. UK time, not 8 or 9. Okay.
All right.
But if you missed anything, I'm going to download the video, put it on YouTube, share the link, and then you can go over. Great. Terraform is huge. If you miss the basics, when we actually start doing crazy stuff going forward, you will be like, ooh. Okay. The good thing about Terraform is there's a lot of support there. You just need the basics. And then how to actually use other people's code to your own benefit and so on and so forth. So let's be serious about Terraform. Watch videos. Just keep on watching videos. Never ever think that you know. Keep on watching videos. Even if you watch 300 times, it's okay. All you're doing is embedding it in your head. Tomorrow, when you're asked, you will not sit there and say, oh, that name, what's that? Oh, how do you call it? Because today is there. Tomorrow, will it be there? So please practice, watch videos. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Hi guys. Welcome to Let's Keep Gun.
What's the boy saying that saying this my guy. I can't say this one. What about no contracts for it? It's my guy. I can't say this one. What about no contracts for it?
Hey baby.
You know, how do we say it?
Reminder.
I'm bien family. I'm bien family. And you're high baby. As I'm proud. Proud.
Are you saying
You know something? I wanted to save this out for my next book. I'll have to drop it here. So you see, there's some. I was watching this guy. His name is Manfold. Basically, is this business? What's it called? Tycoon. That's basically he teaches people business principles, but it's founded in the Bible. Yeah. And so he teaches people all these type of things. And one of the things that he kept saying was, when you're thinking about doing something big, what the devil likes to do is he likes to bring a certain sense of rationalization in your head. When you're thinking about, like, okay, you know what, for example, I'm starting this, let's use the example, the brain center. I'm starting this brain center. Nah, I won't work because there are already too many brain centers that are there. Yeah. Okay, no, you know what, it won't work because my mother, she's here and I'm going to be in school and there are things that happen. But do you know what's happening when all this, rationalize? This is what he said. He said, when you rationalize, all you do is tell yourself, rational lies. Yeah. Think about it. Yeah. Think about it. Yeah. You know the things about it. Yeah. You have to draw how small this and it's like you rationalize it. You're telling yourself these lies about why you cannot do it. Those are lies. Lies for a reason. They are not true. You can do it. Just put it and just say, okay, just start. It doesn't have to be a big start. Just start. No questions, just start. And then we just grow it, ask some direct questions. And you move on. Simple as that. You know something?
What part of your culture say keep it up? Never give up. There is time for everything. Now maybe we are